Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of the Collider Games podcast. My name's Dennis Den. I'm here with
Josh Weyers.
Also, if people didn't watch last episode, you are back in South Africa.
Correct, which is why we're doing this over Skype.
Yes.
The quality will be improving soon. I'm picking up a new microphone and a new camera tomorrow. So looking forward to that. Doing the podcast a little bit early because I'm going to be at an event tomorrow. Currently, it's like 1:45 in the morning, so if I seem a little tired, it's because it's late. It's past midnight. But I'm here. I'm dedicated.
So this ties into our main topic today. What is it like over there? Because I'll tell you right now, everything here in the U.S., like I'm here at the office, there's nobody here. It's just me.
Dude,
okay?
I believe it, man. I heard toilet paper is sold out everywhere and water bottles are sold out everywhere. Like, what the hell's toilet paper gonna fix? You know?
I went to Costco the other day, and it wasn't because I was trying to hoard anything. It was just that time to get stuff and
savings.
There was,
you know.
And so, anyways, the NBA season's canceled. MLB, NHL, Disneyland closed today. For the rest of the month.
Time ever in history, by the way.
And it's for a whole month. Do you know how much money they're losing? It's going to be for the rest of the month. Let's see here. What else? South by Southwest was canceled.
New York said that they are no longer allowing any gathering of 500 or more people. So no more Broadway shows either.
Yeah, no more Broadway shows. I'm upset because there's a huge UFC fight in April, which may be canceled because of that, because it's in Brooklyn. They may move it, but
I think it might. I think that might go on because I hate saying this because whenever I say this, people disagree with me. But it is a bacterial infection. It doesn't really do well in the heat. So as long as I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit, but if you're in anything warmer than about 24 degrees Celsius, it's unlikely to spread as much. So I think by April, less things will start getting canceled. I think as time goes on, we're going to see less things get canceled at least. But the thing is, once summer's over, it's going to come back with like a vengeance, you know?
Oh, yeah. And Bond 25 moved.
Fast and Furious delayed by a whole year.
Moved. Quiet Place 2. They don't even know where it is. So anyways, all this stuff is going on. I don't know what it's like over there for you, but it's like crazy. And then we'll move on to our main topic, which is related to, which is E3 being canceled. What is it like in South Africa? Is there any type of, because like here it's like, I wouldn't say mass hysteria or anything like that, but yeah, people are a little skittish and on edge and no one's doing anything. And so the economy for many things, restaurants, all these events, it's all going down.
Well, I'll say for the most part, most people are still calm out here. I mean, I think we've only had I think 3, maybe 4 confirmed cases at the time of this recording. It's been pretty easy. Like, for the most part, everybody who had the virus, they were quarantined and they were all from the same flight. They all came from Italy. And as we know, Italy is on complete shutdown right now.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing open in Italy is the pharmacies and food stores. So nobody's making any money. The economy's at a pretty much standstill there. There's a couple people who are skittish around here, but there's, I'd say, way less panic here than there is in America because there's also the majority of our population are uninformed or don't have access to internet or even care, to be honest. Because it's like, for some reason, people out here don't think it's going to affect us as much, but we've also been in summer and the disease doesn't really thrive in warmer climates. So I don't know. I think it's going to get worse in the coming months here in South Africa. But I'm also not that worried about it. I mean, the fact that I'm going to a music festival. Well, you guys don't have
as many incoming travelers because of your
we have
where
about
you're located.
14,000 people a day crossing the border near I forget where it's near, but more like northeast of here. Because our borders aren't the most contained things in the world. We have a lot of immigrants just coming from North Africa down.
But what
South
I'm talking
Africa.
about is coming.
So that is a bit of a problem because they're not really screening for the virus that well. And the thing is, like, even upon my arrival into Cape Town, they screened me at the airport, obviously. But all they're doing is scanning you for a fever. They just put this thing to your head and they're scanning you for a fever. If you have a fever, they pull you over. If not, they don't pull you over.
But that's
the thing
problem.
is, the effects don't even show up until like 2 weeks
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
So they could literally be letting people in right
yeah.
now without knowing. You know what I mean? They're only going to know if they have the fever about like 2 weeks down the line. So I'm more worried about the actual economic effects of this virus in the long run. I mean, I think there are going to be some people there are people dying of this, and those numbers are going to go up. But I believe the number of people going bankrupt is going to go way more up. Like I think people are going to be financially ruined from this. And I think the working class are going to be screwed a lot. And the thing is, when it goes to the rural areas, you know, here in South Africa, the reason why I think a lot of Americans shouldn't be worried is because they have good immune systems. Here in South Africa, we have a large population that has tuberculosis.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I'm saying that right.
What,
TB.
tuberculosis?
Yeah.
Tuberculosis?
Yeah. We'll just call it TB for now.
TB.
But the majority of people who have TB will die from this virus because they have the worst immune system ever. So that is sad, but only time will tell. We'll see how things go. I think, yeah, in the long run, I think this whole COVID-19 thing is going to affect the economy more than the people, globally, if you will. But other than that, I mean, South Africa has its own problems. Like I said, I have electricity. My electricity is cut 7.5 hours every single day this week. We're on stage 4 of load shedding. Our country hasn't had electricity for like 8 years. So we keep giving electricity to the neighboring countries, and then the neighboring countries never pay us back for the electricity. So it's kind of screwed. They said after tomorrow it's going to change. I think it's either going to get better or worse. I think it's going to get better, rather than me having my. By the way, for anybody listening, it's not 7.5 hours straight with no electricity. It's in increments. For instance, for me it was from 6 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. and then again from 2 p.m. till 4:30 p.m. and then again from 10 p.m. till 12:30 a.m., which is why I had to do this podcast like 1 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, no, we have our own problems out here in South Africa. We have had it for the long time. I think, yeah, the fear hasn't reached the same level it has as America for sure, but people are a little panicky. I think people are going to start getting a lot more panicked once the numbers go up. Like there's a lot more confirmed cases in the US than there is here in South Africa. I think then people will start worrying more. But like I said earlier, the fact that I'm going to the music festival tomorrow kind of shows the lack of fear, if you will. Yeah, not that worried, but we'll see what happens in the future for now. I think it's worse in LA for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the issue too that I was alluding to before was you guys don't have. I know you were talking about the immigrants coming from other countries and the borders not being secure, but you're not having people coming from areas
we don't
that
have
have
as
been
many refugees as you guys, you know.
Well, not refugees, but just visitors, like constant travel. Like,
Oh,
remember,
true, yeah.
they just closed, quote unquote, did a travel ban on European countries minus the UK, which makes no sense whatsoever because the UK has a lot more cases than a lot of the other countries. But that's like now. It's March. You know, this should have happened like in January, and also not just those countries minus the UK. Should have been all these because they already did a ban on I think on China travel and whatnot. It's like they need to just ban the travel for a while, and I think it's already here and it's already too late. I think that's the issue is like it's getting spread. I think a lot of people have it who don't know because there's not enough tests and like
true. That's true, yeah. And
it's
the majority of the symptoms are like the common cold, so it's difficult to discern between the two.
yeah. So back to the main topic and why this is related is E3 has been canceled and there is no because I think with South by Southwest they're like, oh, we're gonna go postpone it to the fall maybe, you know. They're not giving any refunds to people. They're like, your ticket's still good till later. South by Southwest
Come
is
back next year.
well, not next year. They're trying to do it later this year,
Okay.
assuming that everything is okay by then.
This is going to
So
be a
the
hot take, but I don't care, man. Like E3 has been such a letdown the past 2 years. It's one of those things when I read the news, I was like, good, thank riddance. Oh my God. Like it's, I don't know. I like maybe take a year and then hopefully they can be better next year, you know?
well, it's interesting is E3 kind of had some issues before with like Jeff Keighley leaving and like a bunch of other. There was like a lot of reports about the internal kind of conflicts that was going on. So E3 itself was having a lot of problems. Then this just was like the last straw. Like, okay, let's just cancel it. So they're not postponing; they're strip canceling it. But you have Microsoft and Ubisoft hosting their own online digital events, which I think is basically going to be the equivalent of what Sony was going to do anyways, right? Before the coronavirus. I mean, most people are watching it. E3, is more for the people to get the hands-on experience. Also, press too, to get hands-on. Now you have it where it's like, okay, it's all visual. You're gonna see the same stuff as before, pretty much, right? Trailers, announcements, blah blah blah, right? Most people who watch, let's say, the Xbox press conference or the Sony press or Nintendo, they watch it online. They're not physically there, because physically there's only X amount of whatever. But you don't have, I don't know, maybe you won't have the same hype around it, and you won't have any kind of report back of how this actually plays.
I think there'll still be quite a bit of hype around it for the most part, because mainly from the consumer point of view. Maybe like from the reviewer point of view, it's going to be different. Obviously, you're not going to be able to get your hands on testing. You're not going to be able to review the games properly and tell people what your personal experience was. But for the most part, I was always, also obviously growing up in South Africa, I've always just watched E3 online. That was just the way that I'd always watched E3. So for the majority of the people who experience E3, the majority of them do experience it online, yes, through streaming, through videos. So I think it's a good call to go this way. You can still set up like an event. I mean, you're not going to have an audience, but you can still almost set it up like a newsroom type of situation. Yeah. You know what I mean? And film it that way. I think it'll do well. Obviously, like, you're not going to be selling tickets. People aren't going to be spending money at your event, which is the downside. But on the plus side, I think that they can still do a pretty good job.
Yeah. So what's interesting is if they do too good of a job, then
probably going to stay that way.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you get minimal, blowback from doing it this way, then the companies will be like, yeah, well, what's the point of going to E3? We'll just do it online anyways.
Spend all that money for the marketing that we just got for like a fraction of the price.
Yeah. So that's a concern for the E3, the E3 company and all the people behind that. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that goes. And, with Xbox announcing, not announcing, but they already announced it, but like having their new console, that was supposed to be their big, reveal.
We would have found out a lot more at E3 for sure.
So, all right. Go ahead.
I think it'll be good. The nice thing about this is that it's going to encourage a lot more of the smaller companies to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like to do their own little like hour long show or 2 hour long show on YouTube, which will be cool. So I'd like to hear more from the indie studios as well when they do this. Yeah. Which hopefully a lot of the indie studios follow suit and do the same thing. I think that would be cool.
And then also related, the BAFTA Game Awards. Going to be an online event only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot of these. We're going to see a lot of these events going more towards live streaming. Which Twitch and Mixer are probably going to be doing real good this year. I think.
Yeah.
Everyone's staying indoors streaming. Nah.
I will say this. The one thing though with video games, especially now with the whole like digital download stuff. They can just go ahead. Actually, they probably like benefit from people staying at home more, right? So they're launching. It's not like movies, right? Movies, like you got to go to the theater unless it's on Netflix or Amazon or whatever. You got to go somewhere in the public that you already was kind of a pain in the ass to do anyways, and now the threat or the risk of catching coronavirus is there, so you definitely aren't going to do it. So you'll stay away. There is no such thing with video game launches because video games is for you to download to play at home.
I mean, long are the days where we used to queue outside a GameStop waiting.
I used to do that.
Movies, I did that for No Man's Sky. Could you imagine my disappointment, Dennis? I was in a line with a bunch of people in Hollywood at GameStop waiting for this game to come out. We're all talking about the excitement of going through a black hole and discovering new planets. Can you imagine the disappointment I had? Oh my God. Yeah, we're not even going to talk about it because I mean, No Man's Sky is now actually one of my favorite games because they've turned it into something
Fixed
that
it.
they fixed it. They turned it into something that, well, they pretty much kind of promised, you know?
Mm,
It just took a
yeah.
while. And all the updates were free, so I can't complain that much, you know? I
Yeah.
got my money's worth in the long run.
So yeah. So while this affects the video game industry with E3 being canceled and whatnot, for the benefit from them is that it does not affect any games. It might affect game development of games that are currently being developed, but I think a lot of companies are telecommu uh, remotely working from home. So I don't know, though I don't know if developers have as powerful stations as they do at work. Maybe they have to just pack up their whole desktop and whatever and head home and do it. But anyways,
But it's
it's
possible.
less.
It's
Yeah,
plausible, you know?
it's less effective. Oh, and I forgot up top mentioning the whole Tom Hanks thing. Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson have coronavirus. You know what I mean? And they got it on set while in Australia. So a lot of things are shutting down, like production wise in the film. A lot of the video game stuff is less affected, right? Because you can work from home. You can you don't have to interact with other people physically. In film production, you have to. This is like a necessity of film production. You don't have to in video game production. I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
obviously there are
I think it's going to
exceptions.
go up. You're right. You're absolutely right. The video game economy, it's only going to go up at this point in time. I see indie game developers benefiting from this greatly because they don't have to work in those giant big office situations. You know what I mean? Like 4 or 5. You know what? Even mobile games at this point in time, we're gonna see a boom in the sale of mobile games, and I don't even like mobile games. You know, unless it's unless it's Final Fantasy 7 or Final Fantasy 9, which is perfectly recreated for me on mobile. But yeah, no, it's the digital era will thrive this year for sure. Like we're gonna see, I think we're
And
gonna see a
Netflix will
change in
thrive.
markets.
Netflix,
Hulu,
Amazon Prime, Hulu, all that
Disney
stuff. Everyone's
Plus.
just staying home. Yeah.
I
All
mean,
right.
we gamers have always done that. We're ready for this, man. We've been doing this for years.
So so being a social outcast or whatever, or
Finally
uh
paid off.
social isolation pays off. All right. Next up we got there's going to be a new Witcher game. CD
Yes.
Projekt Red has announced that they're going to be developing a new game set in the world of Witcher, but not The Witcher 4. What do you think
Hmm.
this means?
Well, I mean, I speculate a few things. It's not going to be Gwent, which I
Okay.
know we know it's not going to be Gwent because they already did Gwent. I love Gwent. I'd be upset though if it was another Gwent game. But they said it's going to be an RPG. It's going to be a single player RPG game, just like the Witcher series. They have stated before that Geralt's journey has ended. That whole story is done. Now, I think they have a lot more freedom with this new game because by the looks of things, they're not going to be drawing from the books. You know what I mean? If they're not following Geralt of Rivia, then if they're doing their own story within the game world that they created, they have a lot more freedom in terms of story as to what they can do. I would like to see a standalone Siri game. That would be really cool. I'd really like to see a standalone Siri game, but I don't think it's going to be that. I think they're going to give us something completely new, you know? Maybe the birth of the Witchers or something. Like it'll
I
either be
kind of,
like it'd probably be a
as someone
prequel
who
or
is
something. I don't know.
yeah, as someone who never played Witcher 1 or 2 and has only played part of 3, playing 3, I'm like confused because I don't know the characters, I don't know the storylines, and so it takes a little while to kind of get into it. Where if they do a prequel or side, story, it's pretty much starting from scratch. I mean, obviously they will still have things that tie into the Witcher universe and whatnot, and references and
All the
whatnot.
signs and magic and stuff, but
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all the creatures, but for the most part, you're right. You'll be starting fresh, so that's going to be good for people going into it. You know,
Yeah, but we won't see it for like 5, 6
they say yeah, like
years.
7 years. They're thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
So,
I think they said they've got once Cyberpunk 2077 gets released, they're going to have two teams working on. Well, they're going to have one team working on DLC, and they're going to have another team working on multiplayer for Cyberpunk. then they said they're going to have a very small team start production on this standalone Witcher game.
So yeah, that's
I'm looking forward to it though. Like, I'm also very happy to know that CD Projekt Red, they're only sticking to two IPs. You know, they don't want to. They don't want to go. I kind of respect the decision to not have another IP. You know, and to just stick with the two IPs that you currently have.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of. I mean, Rockstar has more than two IPs, but they do work mainly focus on one game for a long period of time, and then move on to the next one. So it's kind of following that model. So.
Yeah. Other than that, no, there's not much news around it, so we can only speculate at this point in time what it'll be. We just know it'll probably have nothing to do with Geralt. Maybe we'll see an appearance of him, but
mention,
like they said, his
appearance,
a mention or something. I mean, his story's done, so we'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait the 7 years, you know, which is really not that long if you think about it. I mean, I waited roughly 7 years for Final Fantasy VII, and here we are. You know, it's finally coming out.
Almost there. All right. The Doom Eternal launch trailer came out. Did you watch it?
Dude, I watched it in 60 FPS HD, and it was fucking beautiful, man. I can't wait. There was another trailer. I don't know if you saw it, but it was the customize your own Doomslayer. Because obviously for multiplayer, you're gonna be able to customize your guy. And I think there's a Twitch Prime like set you can have, which is a unicorn. Like, it's this kind of like, your costume is this weird. You look like it's the Doomslayer costume, but with a unicorn thing, and you got these like pink wings. It's a little out there, but I mean, when it comes to customization, I love things that are out there. I like the fact that you can customize your guy. It's going to bring a whole new thing. That's probably going to bring in some microtransactions at a later point. But if it's purely cosmetic, I'm okay with that, and I'm probably going to end up spending some money on the game. So yeah.
Speaking of spending money on the game, if you pre-order it now, they got a $10 discount.
There you go. I'm not gonna. I tell you what. I made the mistake last time of getting the previous Doom game on console, and I wouldn't say it was a big mistake because I enjoyed the game on there. But man, that game, it's just so much better with the mouse and keyboard. Like, it's such a fast-paced, movement-heavy game that like I played the previous Doom on my friend's computer, and I was immediately upset that I didn't get it on PC because it's just so much easier to move around. Like, and also, I'm sure it's difficult for a lot of developers to be able to allow keyboard and mouse support on their game. I know Fortnite has keyboard and mouse support on their game, but it's like, for games that aren't multiplayer, I don't see why not. If you're doing like a single player, especially for the single player mode, like allow mouse and keyboard support. You know, like it enhances the experience, in my opinion. But dude, the game looks good, man. It looks so good. It looks fresh as well. The graphics are so sexy. It's one of those games where I can't wait to get it on the next gen console as well, you know, and play it with those graphics and see it upped. Oddly enough, speaking of The Witcher, I'm looking forward to playing The Witcher on a PS4 Pro soon. So because it has HDR support, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited for next gen consoling for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Doom Eternal's coming out on March 20th, which is a week from now. A lot of good reviews, a lot of positive buzz behind it. Like, it's not my type of FPS, but I got to demo it at E3 last year, and it just looks great. I played it on a PC. It looks fantastic. It's an adrenaline rush, right? But even though it's not my type of FPS, I was like having a ton of fun playing it, right? Just mowing down. I suck though. Like, I was just getting killed left and right. But it's one of those things where who knows, like, how much the delay helped with it. Remember, it was supposed to come out in November, I think, of last year.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out just before Christmas of last year. Yeah.
And then who knows how much of this delay in the polishing. I mean, if the game comes out, does very well, critics love it, fans love it. It's like, it's just a lesson, you know. Delay your game if you need to.
True. I'm looking at the deluxe edition right now, and I quite like the deluxe edition. Looks cool. I think it's a little overpriced, for what you're getting.
Most collector's editions are overpriced, but
Yeah. Well, this is the deluxe edition, not even the collector's edition.
Okay.
They release, I don't know if the collector's edition. Oh, I don't even know if they're doing that. They're doing it. There's a Doom Slayers collection, but that involves like a controller, skin, and stuff. But just the deluxe edition alone. Usually, the deluxe edition would include a season pass, which it does. This includes the game year one pass, so at least the first year of DLC, which is they say a DLC 1 and 2, and then. But other than that, you're getting a Demon Slayer skin, which looks cool, and classic weapon sound pack. Like I mean, it depends on how much their season pass is going to cost, but that's like a whole extra $30 just for the first year of the season pass, you know, and then 2 skins, if you will, well, a skin and a soundtrack or sound pack. So I don't know. I think $80 would have been a better choice for that, but $90, I don't know. That's just me being a little bit nitpicky, though, you know.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Last of Us Part 2 delay. They're basically saying that the delay doesn't mean that they're all like sitting back and relaxing. Basically, it's the same crunch as before. It's just over a longer period of time. So it's not like they're like, all right, everyone's just working their regular 8 hours a day. Everyone's still working their ass off. It's just that they need
what I like about this is the fact that they say that it's expected working at the company. Like the people working there are saying, look, working for Naughty Dog, we know that they expect perfection, so we know crunch time is a thing. And they said a lot of people are saying like it's expected working there. Like they know it's going to happen, and they know what they're signing. They know what they're signing up for when they go and work for Naughty Dog. They say I think a couple of the people were saying that in the hiring process, they look out for those people who are willing to, because they don't have any, I think, set hours. Like if you want to put in some extra hours at work, they're going to be like, go for it, man. If you want to put in that extra 10%, go for it. And they try to hire people like that. So it's nice to know that the people, there is crunch time, and sure, that's going to be stressful for a lot of people, but it's nice to know that a lot of people working there are, I wouldn't say comfortable with the crunch time, but they expect it, and they're okay with it. And a lot of the people were saying that if they did release the game on its original launch date, they would not have been happy with it themselves. Yeah. Not just like the heads of the studio, but the actual the developers. They were like, no, would have been horrible to release at that time. So it really is like about that extra bit of polish, you know. Yeah. And when your previous game was one of the most defining games of a generation, you kind of want to make sure the sequel is as good, you know.
Also, I think like people would much prefer a longer crunch than a compact. Like, for example, let's say they're working 12 hours a day for 6 months. I think they would prefer that than 14 hours a day for 3 months. You know what I mean? Like where it's where you're getting at least a little bit more rest in between, not a lot, but you know what I mean? Versus having it so compacted.
They could have crunched the crunch time more, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like right now they're working at an acceptable rate. I mean, from the sounds of things, they're not making people overwork. They're allowing the people there to choose if they want to overwork, you know, which is quite cool because I think that's pretty rad, you know. Like, I mean, yes, there's crunch time, but they're giving you the option. They're like, look, we're not going to make you do overtime, but if you want to do overtime, go for it. That's kind of cool. So it's nice to know the people working on the game are just as passionate as the people playing the game.
Also related to Last of Us is we talked about the announcement of the HBO TV series.
And this answers one of the questions we had.
Yeah, Craig Mazin, he has a podcast. It's actually a podcast I listen to, which is Script Notes, which is a screenwriting podcast that he does with John August. And he revealed that actually they're waiting. They can't even start until Neil Druckmann is free from Last of Us Part 2. And Makes sense. Also talks about how he was the one that was really pushing for the TV series instead of a movie. Like he was like telling them like it fits the length of the story needs to be over this longer period of time, and he talked to Neil as well, It says he was introduced to Neil through a mutual friend. And he just said, yeah, it should be a TV
Which is
show.
crazy. She's Shannon Woodward from Westworld. Like that's what a small world, you know.
Yeah. So on a side note, you know my whole history with The Last of Us, right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so
I know your history. Yeah.
yeah. All right. So just a short recap for people who don't know. I bought PS3 specifically for Last of Us. This is at the end of the PS3 cycle. It was a very good deal. Played it, had a bug where I couldn't manually save, and I was getting to this point where I kept having to redo something over and over and again, so I just stopped. So I bought a PS4 recently. I've been playing Death Stranding, God of War, but to be honest, I haven't put that many hours on my PS4. It's just, anyways, I played Last of Us, the remastered one that I bought specifically for PS4. Guess what?
Same problem?
Not the same problem. Different issue. The controller now is spinning the camera. I think it might be an issue.
I never had that issue before.
I think it's an issue with the controller. But
and
remember,
I mean, it has to be, yeah.
But remember, I bought the PlayStation 4 in November. I have to be honest with you. I've put maybe 10 to 15 hours total on the system, and the controller is now spinning the camera.
Have you had this problem with any other games?
That's what I'm going to test after we're done with this podcast. I think it's a physical
disappointment. That's disappointment right there, man.
I'm about to swear off Last of Us and Sony for the rest of my life. I know.
It's like the only way you'll ever experience the story is through the TV show at this point, you know?
It was annoying because I was like playing the game because I'm playing basically what I've already played before on the PS3.
Trying to catch up.
I'm trying to catch up to where I'm at. And then I noticed as I forgot the daughter's name, not Ellie, but the girl in the beginning where you control her.
Oh my gosh, what's her name?
The one that dies.
Sarah.
Yeah. Not a spoiler because it happens in the first like 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah, literally.
Anyways, as you know how there's like those kind of semi cutscenes. They're not real cutscenes, but they're like in-game kind of like.
Yeah, you can still kind of.
They're trying to send. Yeah. It starts spinning. It starts spinning, and then now also on the other analog controller, I'm trying to move forward, and it's like juddering and stuttering or whatever. And I don't know. I'm pissed.
I really hope that is a hardware issue, because if that's a game issue, you should.
I'm pretty sure it's not a game issue.
I have the remastered, and I've never experienced that before with the remastered.
It's got to be a hard. But isn't that so disappointing? I just got it, and I put like 15 hours on it, and this brand new thing is like, I don't know.
And it's not like you're throwing the controller around rage quitting, you know what I mean? As far as I know, the only thing you use it for was Death Stranding.
Yep, and then God of War.
Yeah.
God of War, but it's like I said, minimal hours.
Still, you're not really like thrashing the analog stick on God of War, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so after this, I'm going to...
Buttons are taking a beating more than anything else.
Yeah, so after this, I'm going to test it on another game and then go back into Last of Us and see what the hell is going on. But anyways, I just wanted to tell you that.
I love how in this article, Dennis, they make such like a big point about how they're keeping I think the term that Barbara used was, I hope you keep the gay. And it's like, of course they are. Like, they wouldn't make her straight. That would piss off so many people. Like, why are people even questioning this? Of course they're going to keep her gay. Why? That would be the worst decision ever, to make her straight. Like, to take a gay character and make them straight. That's asking for flack. That is literally asking like people.
That would happen though. That would happen like 20 years ago. 20 years.
True, 100%. But in this current social political climate, never. People would fucking ban the show before it even came out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm happy they're doing it, but I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, come on, guys, it's 2020. They wouldn't do that, especially not HBO. I don't think, you know.
All right, next thing. I don't know if you saw this. Half-Life Alyx, IGN got to play the first 4 hours. Obviously, they didn't show the first 4 hours, but they had like kind of mini review of the first 4 hours, and all positive stuff, basically answering a lot of questions, basically saying, look, there's a reason why this is in VR. It's not like they didn't take Half-Life, the franchise and property FPS, and just port it into VR. That it is made with VR in mind. And I think we talked about it before. Yeah, the gloves, they basically called them gravity gloves instead of having the gravity gun, like gravity gloves, being able to get the pick up items without having to bend over and stuff. And they said the pacing was actually pretty good. They were worried that because VR, you can either use locomotion or you can do teleportation. They have both, and they have a hybrid as well. You can do either just locomotion, just teleportation, or both. They said it actually they work it into the pacing of the game. So look, you're not going to have, like with a regular FPS, you have full control, right? And you get swarms and swarms of enemies can come and you can attack it. In this one, it's much more drawn out, but still in a very tension-filled pace.
Well, that's good. I mean, at the end of, I really think that for them to be doing another Half-Life game, they would never give us something bad. I think, like, they must. I mean, they were probably working on this for years before they even announced it. You know what I mean? Like this, like, I expect quality. You know, the fact that it's my ice machine going. The fact that it's been so long since Half-Life 3, and since, like, I mean, also if you look at the Portal series, like, Valve generally gives you quality. You know what I mean? It's like not exactly all the time that we get a game from them, but when it is, it's phenomenal. You know what I mean? And I think that this is going to be groundbreaking for VR in general. It's definitely still more towards, like, your high-end VR customers, but I'm looking forward to it. Like, I'm gonna have to get the cable for the Quest that's sold out, and I'm gonna have to play this game, man. Like, I was just gonna wait until I get back to LA at the end of the year and play it at the office, but I can't wait that long. Like,
yeah, I mean, especially if the reviews come out like raving about it.
I mean, it's gonna, and also people are gonna spoil the game for me, like, easily, man. But this is a good article. They do answer a lot of the questions. For anybody who has a lot of questions about this game, I do recommend checking out the IGN article on this. It's really good, and they talk about it in a fluid way, which makes sense to me. Very, very, very chiseled is the word that they said.
Also, very next gen, because like most VR games don't, have, because the minimum requirements, and I'm sure they played on like the best quality system, like a Half-Life Valve Index, or sorry, Valve Index. On like a very souped, they probably playing the best possible one, but they said it felt very next gen versus some of the other VR games you play. Like, okay, going in, because it's VR, it's going to take a graphics hit.
Yeah, for sure. It's either going to be beautiful graphics with limited gameplay, or it's going to be amazing gameplay with, like, cartoony graphics. It's usually one of the two.
Yeah. So that's a very good sign. We're not that far away from it again.
I mean, you're going to be doing a review on it soon, man. You're going to be able to play it quite soon. I'm jealous.
Yeah. All right. NFL 2K coming back, kind of. So NFL 2K is a franchise that is has been dead and dormant for a while because EA had bought the NFL license exclusively for Madden, and NFL 2K, or basically the 2K series, was competing against them. And I remember they tried 1 year after the license and made a game, but it was like, without the licenses, no one was buying it. They had to have like different, like the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridgers or something. You know what I mean? Like, they just didn't have the real,
without the famous people with it. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Didn't have the selling value. Didn't get to play as your guys.
But now it seems like they're gonna have a football. I mean, they still have NBA 2K, which is the standard for basketball games.
Yeah, it's way better than EA's version of NBA by far.
So they are gonna come out I mean, some people consider ESPN NFL 2K5. I think that was back in the Xbox,
2004.
the first Xbox days, as like the pinnacle of video game football. But they're coming back with something that is not competing against Madden, though. They're saying that it's not going to be like a football simulator like Madden, but it's going to be. It says.
Do you think it's going to be street football?
It says span multiple video games centered on fun, approachable, and social experiences. Social experiences. I think it's going to be some sort of, whether it's VR or some sort of kind of.
You really think they're going to go VR? I think that's a bit of a stretch. I think I don't think they'll go VR. I mean, like, I'm like mentally picturing me. It just doesn't feel right. For anybody who didn't watch me just now, I threw a football in my mind, and like, I guess, I mean, with like the Valve Index, it's a bit more possible. You're going to be a bit more hands-on. I think the smart choice here would be because they kind of did it with NBA 2K20, which is they kind of brought back this like street mode, like the street football, the street basketball, which I loved the Street series from the EA like NBA Street NFL.
Yeah, I remember
Street.
that. It was all fun.
Those games are amazing. Yeah, they're not gonna. It doesn't look like they're bringing them back anytime soon. So I think that this is a great opportunity for the 2K series to do a lot of street games. You know what I mean? Like if they focus more on like street football, like that's a great selling point because you don't have to do Madden, you don't have to do professional football. But if you're doing street football and people can customize their own characters, you know what I mean? Like I think that's gonna be fun. Throw in a couple of celebrities. That'd be a good time.
Yeah. All right. This next one you sent me. Why don't you tell me more about it? It's Minecraft.
Yeah, this is actually, I just like this. This is such a beautiful way for people to have done this. So there's a group of people, Reporters Without Borders and Blockworks. They created an uncensored library in a Minecraft map. So you can download this Minecraft map, walk around, go into the library, and there are the books, like actual, like the same way books work in Minecraft. You pick them up, and all the book, not just articles that get banned, but like actual physical books that get banned in different countries and things like that. Anything that would be censored, you can now find on this Minecraft map for free, which is yeah. Many countries censor blogs, newspapers, and websites that run to counter their ruling regime's views. So it's like a lot of the blogs that get censored, the newspapers and websites, they can now put their stuff on this Minecraft library, which it's phenomenal. That's amazing. I don't like. I mean, I doubt anyone's gonna shut it down. It looks beautiful. I don't know if you've seen like the pictures of the people having built this map. It looks gorgeous. Like it's huge. This library is huge as well. Launched today, the library currently contains 200 books, with more to be added as time goes on, including articles by censored, jailed, or even murdered journalists. So it's like. That's crazy to think, like people who were murdered for the things they wrote. Now the things they wrote are on this Minecraft map, and you can read it. Space has also been left on the map to add more sections to the library. It's just, I never would have expected this. Like in 100 million years,
man.
Like that's crazy. It's the best way to fight censorship, like ever. I mean, talk about the great firewall of China. This is probably one of the ways to get past it. If you want Chinese journalists to talk about what's going on in China, they need to put it here, man. Just go ahead and upload it on a Minecraft. That's such a good idea. That's crazy. I just thought that was cool. I wanted to add that in there. Hopefully people don't abuse it and put like the anarchist cookbook on there or something. Hopefully.
The anarchist cookbook.
Yeah, I remember when those used to float around your local school and everyone's like, shh, don't tell anyone.
Yep.
This is how you make napalm.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is how you make exploding putty. Oh, and this is how you hack pretty much your local news station. Oh man, those are bad. Like, I know. I mean, I never worried because I was in South Africa, but they always said that if you were there were rumors going around when I was a kid that if you were caught in America with the anarchist cookbook, you would like be tried for treason or something. I
Yeah, I
doubt that
think
was
that's a
real.
little. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's a little
But as a
exaggerated.
as a kid, I
You'd probably
believed
be
it
in
as a kid, man.
trouble.
Oh, for
Probably in
sure.
trouble. Yeah, me and my friends had a copy of it. It was very interesting.
I never tried anything out from it, but I did like it was nice to
We
read.
try we
Like
tried the more, I
I
wouldn't
think I
say
tried to make
innocent.
nap. I think I made it. I think I tried to make napalm once, and like halfway through the process, I was like, "This is too dangerous for me." And I was like 12. I was like, "I shouldn't be trying to make napalm." And like I lived on a farm too. I was like, "This is not a good idea. Like cattle could burn."
Yeah.
um, but yeah, like I was more interested in like the hacking approach. It was also one of those things where I saw how to hack things, and I was like, "Yeah, this is awesome. I can't do this. I'm not going to even try to learn." And I was like, "Cool, but I'm not going to try to do this." Get to the fun stuff. How do I explode stuff? That was cool. But hey kids, if anybody's listening to this, do not try to download the Anarchist Cookbook. You will get into a lot of trouble. Do not try to make some of the things on there either. Okay, that's my little PSA right there. But yeah, so
Um.
hopefully people use this Minecraft map for good rather than bad.
Yeah. Another thing, Mortal Kombat 11 Spawn DLC is coming out
Looks good, man.
next week, early next week. We Tom from the Collider.com website actually got to play it. He captured footage. We posted it on the channel, so if anyone wants to look at the footage there, show some fatalities, brutalities, intros and whatnot. Man, just when I was a kid, collecting comic books and reading Spawn, I just never thought it'd be see the day where it's like it's such a
And
big
then
enough
in a
character where it could
brutal
be,
game,
yeah, that would be
where you
like
get to like see
included.
like oh,
Yeah. So,
I like the yeah, dude, the Spawn, the animated Spawn series, and that was one of my favorite. That was one of my favorites of all time. I never really read the comics, but the series was amazing, and even the movies. Um, aren't they? Didn't they? Weren't they announced? Weren't they working on a new movie, or like they
yeah,
wanted to do
yeah,
or something?
Todd McFarlane, who created Spawn, is working
Yeah,
on it. He's actually going to direct it, but it's under the Bloomhouse. So it's gonna be. He said it's gonna be much more of a horror thing than a superhero thing, and that makes sense because if it's gonna have a low budget, it's got to be more scary than
yeah.
you know what I mean. Instead of him like
Yeah,
out there.
horror works well with low budget, so it makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. Keith David, who animated Spawn in the animated series, he did the voice acting for it. Is going he does the voice for the Mortal Kombat 11 version.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
yeah. All right. Last thing on my list, just because I'm a fan of this franchise, Panzer Dragoon VR was announced. Are you familiar with the Panzer Dragoon series?
I I am. I've never played it, but I have played a lot of Panzer Dragoon-like games, if you will.
Okay.
I've played a lot
So
of like rip-offs, if you will.
yeah, I mean it's a rail shooter in the vein of, if old school people remember, Space Harrier, but just it had a beautiful design to it. It was very cool. The first two games were like rail shooters. It was a lot of fun. You would fight all these like enemies and big bosses.
Wait,
And
hold on.
then the
Was there a
third
Panzer
one,
Dragoon on Xbox? On the
yes,
Xbox One?
Panzer, not Xbox One, but the original Xbox. There was Panzer Dragoon Orta.
Oh, I think I may have
Um,
played like a remake of that or something, but
well, they are currently trying to remaster the first two, which is kind of cool. But the third one ended up being an RPG that
that's
used that.
interesting.
Yeah, it was like used that world and used that design aesthetic and the story and the characters, but they turned it into an RPG, and it's
Yeah,
it's, it's actually it's actually
I
beloved. It was on the Sega Saturn.
I played a game similar to, like I said, it's like I wouldn't call it a ripoff, but someone on the Xbox One released a rail shooter, but you are the dragon, and you have different dragons. You can level them up. But I love rail shooters, man, and they don't come out very often. And it's one of those genres that makes sense in VR to me. Like in my mind, I'm like, what we should have more rail shooters in VR. It makes a lot of sense. So I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Uh, I'll definitely want to pick it up. I mean, mind you, have they said what they're going to release it on or anything?
Not yet. It's very early, but
Yeah,
I expect it to be on most platforms.
because yeah, I'm definitely getting a Quest in a couple months' time. So, Hopefully, I
Yeah.
can play it on the Quest because I
Yeah,
love
I
me
mean,
a rail shooter.
this is just announced, so I don't expect to see this until probably next year.
I
That's my
think yeah.
guess.
The last time I played a rail shooter, and it wasn't even a rail shooter, it was an action game called Ashura's Wrath. I don't know if you ever
Hmm.
played it. It was like a beat 'em up
No.
action game, but there were certain parts where you would be in space, and then it became a rail shooter out of nowhere. And oddly enough, everyone was okay with that. They were like, "Yeah, it's cool, makes sense," and it was fun. It was one of those incredibly over the top games where you feel like a badass just beating everything up. You're just defeating these other gods, and you yourself are a demigod. Uh, if you haven't played it, if I think, well, you don't. Do you have an Xbox?
The original one?
Or well, just I think the Xbox. If you have the Xbox One, I think it's
Yeah.
on Game Pass. I could be wrong. It could be on Game Pass, but if it is,
Uh,
definitely play it. I highly recommend it.
well, as we sign off here, Ohio estimates 100,000 people in the state have coronavirus.
Dude,
I mean,
that's
100,000
easy.
people in Ohio. You know, Ohio is not.
I mean,
It's
it's
not like
fairly rural, but like,
it's
damn.
if it's 100,000 people in Ohio, I can't imagine what the number is in LA, San Francisco, and New York. They just don't have the numbers yet. I'm telling you, because there's no way they Ohio is not like this super, hub of international, you know what I mean?
I mean, according to I'm doing the math in my head. If there's a 2% death rate to this thing, right? 2% of 100,000 people is what? 10,000 people? No, hold on. I'm doing math really bad there. Um,
It's supposed to be, anyways. It's supposed to be 3.5%. So
oh,
you're
did it go up to
talking,
3.5%? Shit. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, last time I checked, it was at like
So
two a
you're you
2% death rate,
so you're talking about 3,500 people.
which is that's a
A
lot of
lot.
fucking people. That's a
Yeah.
lot of people dead. Yeah. I mean, primarily those are going to be people that are age 60 and above, but that's still like that's sad. It's really going to affect the working class. Like I said, anybody with low immune systems they're fucked. So keep your immune system up, guys. You know,
Yeah.
don't drink as much or smoke as much as I do. It's not a good idea.
Yeah.
That's scary, man. That's actually
Yeah.
scary. I kind of don't want to end this podcast on that note. We should try to end it on a happy note.
The
Um,
happy note is I'm gonna try and get my Last of Us remastered to work
well, again,
properly.
yeah. The happy note is that we have plenty of releases coming out this year, so plenty of reasons to stay indoors and to not come near other people. That's the happy news, guys. We gamers will be fine.